Dawson's Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for Ranger Academy 4. I know I keep getting super behind on this series. I keep forgetting about it, not because I hate it or I'm not enjoying it, it's just kind of easy to forget. I am going to change the way I cover it a little bit though. I'm going to try, number one, to keep up on it more regularly. Keep lying to yourself, Dawson. Keep lying to yourself. I am going to try to be more regular, but I'm going to kind of frame it more as reviewing it for the lore. So like, if issue 5 has nothing stuff to talk about, I might wait till issue 6, and if there's a major lore reveal or something to talk about, I'll kind of review the reveals, because I feel like issue by issue, most of my reviews wind up being the same, where I say the same points, which is what I would say about this issue, is that the banter and general story is fairly enjoyable for a younger audience, and would make a good animated series. But I don't have a whole lot to expand on outside of that, and most of my talking points usually come down to digging for the lore. It's kind of like getting cereal and taking the cereal out for the prize. That's what it feels like. When the series finally wraps, I'll offer my more comprehensive thoughts on the characters and story, but for the most part, I'm going to keep my reviews to be reviewing and going over the recent revelations about the lore and story, and save any nitty-gritty for later on. But anyway, let's get into those details, as there were several key lore beats, as this week's issue was about them going on their quest to find the Bandoran monk temple or whatever to get their morph on. Which bit? Get your morph on, get your morph on. Something, gotta play it right. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX had a fire theme song. Anyway, I'm gonna go watch Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Generation X! Game on! I promise I'll stop. Game on! No, I'm serious, I'll stop. Very similar, as I mentioned, to the way that Jedi will go to Ilum to get their lightsaber crystals in the Clone Wars, if you've seen that, further enhancing the idea of May the Power Protect You being a lame version of May the Force Be With You. But anyway, that was the main gist of it, and with that we get a couple revelations. In a smaller revelation, one of the characters does mention Dark Spectre as kind of like an old, not folk tale, but like a scary story. I only thought that was interesting because he's such a major fixture in the current ongoing series, and the placing of this in the timeline is very confusing, and it makes me wonder if this takes place far after the Darkest Hour event, or if it's going to somehow tie in at any point. I doubt it, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The main revelations and like worthy talking points of this video is they talk about Ranger colors and who they think they're gonna get, and one of them, the same kid actually, I think mentions like orange and green are a myth, and they're a myth because they're believed to be cursed colors, or basically any colors, it's kind of implied outside of the core ones they use at the Academy are cursed, which is extremely interesting. Again, the placing and the timeline of this is confusing, as they have established that they get mentors and guest speakers from all across time and space, and you'd imagine then they would for sure hear of some Green Rangers and stuff. I mean, Orange Rangers are pretty rare, but Green Rangers are pretty common. I mean, yes, there is that whole aspect of like Tommy is known as the legendary evil Green Ranger, but the lion's share of Green Rangers have just been normal team members. So I find that interesting and raises questions about how these kids have been shielded from that knowledge and why the perception is this way. It leads to the interesting revelation at the end of Sage transforming into a Green Ranger and keeping it secret. It's definitely confusing. I'm not going to be upset about anything until I learn where it comes in the timeline, because honestly, I'm really interested in the lore. I really like the lore they've laid down, and if they place it at an interesting place in the timeline, this could be really interesting to find out about. And I think it does give an interesting character beat to Sage to have this thing to keep secret. I'm curious though if they might end up just keeping it self-contained and none of this matters in the context, like maybe just another Earth in the multiverse, but it is interesting. That's the thing about this series, is like, everything about it is generically enjoyable, but like the lore parts are actually pretty interesting. And I'm really curious to see if maybe the stuff with her dad has anything to do with this. Maybe he also transformed into a Green Ranger or a forbidden color, or maybe he didn't like the way they perceived that and that's why he left. I don't know, but that was certainly interesting, and I do honestly quite like the original, yet basic design they have for the suits, but I will continue to cover this series for its major lore revelations. What do you think about all this stuff about the forbidden and bad colors? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.